All right, just getting everything kicked off now for the weekly live Q&A event. Going to make sure the sound is turned off on the once it begins to start up. Still waiting for the event to kick off. Just waiting for some viewers to get on too. Seems to take a few minutes for these things to kick in. Oh, there we go. Still waiting for. See, that's the sound I was talking about, getting that turned off. So now the viewers are coming on. So welcome to another weekly live Q&A event. I know you guys really enjoy these. I enjoy doing them. And let's get rolling with the questions. I'm going to look over at the what we got coming in. If we have anything. Hello, a bunch of hellos and highs are coming in. Okay, let me see here. Got a question. Did you get to see the crazy Freely and Durian Rider breakup? No. I mean, I've heard that they were breaking up or something, but I haven't really paid attention to the drama in the vegan community. I don't really like to pay attention to that kind of thing too much. It's not. I don't find it useful. But to each their own. Let's see here. Do I like listening to metal bands like Burzum? I listen to more symphonic and progressive metal. So think things like, I guess, like Nightwish, Camelot, Pain of Salvation, some Dream Theater, Queensryche, that kind of stuff. Organic versus conventional. I just buy whatever's like, you know, got the best deal. Sometimes organic is the best price. Sometimes it's conventional. I don't really worry too much about it because the greater body of research doesn't seem to show any real benefit from organic. And bear in mind that organic also uses pesticides and whatnot too. So it's not like you're avoiding pesticides or anything. And those pesticides could cause harm as well. There's actually more research, I guess, on the conventional pesticides than there are on the organic pesticides. So we don't know a lot of the long-term health effects of organic pesticides, but organic alone is not really, I haven't seen any research to show that it's necessarily better. So I'm looking for a good vegan toilet paper. Any suggestions? I didn't know there was non-vegan toilet paper. I mean, I tend to buy household products from Whole Foods Market that are labeled non-cruelty to animals, like cruelty-free in the back. But yeah. Let's see here. Somebody's asking brown rice protein versus whey protein. Well, obviously, I'm not going to like tell you to drink whey. Brown rice protein, but on that note, brown rice protein has been compared to whey as well as pea protein in research, and it was shown to be just as effective at building muscle and allowing recovery from exercise. So, you know, you don't need whey protein. Just go with pea protein, brown rice protein, or some combination of the two. Or soy isolate's good too. Have you ever heard of the band Sabaton? No, I haven't. Do I know of Infinite Edge Intensity? Yes, I do. I can't really say I watch his channel a lot. Ever eaten traditional Chinese buns? No, I don't even know what that is. What your book recommendations? And is there a vegan milk chocolate alternative? There are vegan milk chocolates made with rice milk. Just some of them are kind of bad. I'm just going to put that out there, and some of them are pretty good. I think it's just the quality of cocoa that some of them use. It's a texture mostly. It's kind of foul in some of them. There's one brand in particular I can't think of the name of right now, but it uses rice milk as its base, and it's pretty foul. I don't know why they just don't use coconut milk, because coconut milk is nice and fatty and rich in like a milk chocolate bar. Let me see here. I eat a lot of oats and barley, whole grains, cooked. This routinely gets me over the recommended 10 milligrams of manganese. Any thoughts? You know, I really wouldn't worry about it. I mean, I'm not a doctor, so I can't say this for a fact, but I know that with potassium, for instance, you know, people can get a lot of potassium from eating a lot of bananas, but I've never seen anyone get potassium poisoning from eating a shitload of bananas either. Then again, it would probably take a real massive amount. I would, you know, I'm not going to touch this. You know, I'm not a doctor, so talk with your doctor about it. But if you haven't had a problem yet, it might not be an issue. It might take a while for it to build up in your system, like some vitamin toxicities and metal toxicities take a while to build up, and then you suddenly get a problem. So talk with your doctor about that. I don't feel comfortable answering that question. You can't afford to buy supplements. Can you still bodybuild? Of course. Just ensure you're getting enough calories to build muscle, and ensure you're getting plenty of sleep. And train with progressive resistance. You know, keep trying to push forward intelligently. You can build muscle just fine. Do I enjoy hip hop music? Not particularly. I don't like country either. You know, that sounds really cliche, but I'm not a big fan of rap, country, hip hop, or any of that. Even a lot of dance and electronica, I'm not really into. I listen to some, but not a lot. So there are a number of genres I'm just not a big fan of. What about soy isolate raising IGF-1 and IGF-1 growth hormone? It's a transient effect. I wouldn't worry about it. You return to baseline within 30 minutes or so. It's the same thing with, you know, exercise. Exercise can increase IGF-1 too. So, have you ever tried occlusion training, aka blood flow restriction? Yes, and I've done a video about it. There seems to be a growing body of research that shows that it's beneficial. I know a lot of people try to avoid it because they're afraid of cutting off blood flow. And they think that might cause more risk than benefit, but I have given it a go. I keep my occlusion time to under 5 minutes. That's what's recommended. And I go with really light, high rep kind of work. So think about like 25 to 30 rep range. But sometimes I'll go as low as like 15 reps or as heavy as 15 reps, I should say. But usually I keep it to 25 to 30 reps, and the pump is phenomenal. When you pull that occlusion band off, you just feel swollen. It's amazing. The pump is just amazing. But if you don't really want to do occlusion, if you really don't want to risk it, just stick with high rep work, like 25 to 50 rep range, and hit those endurance fibers, and you'll get a nasty pump from that as well. So, you know, and cable exercises are great for that sort of thing because the constant tension, it's insane, especially in the arms. My God, if you superset like push downs with cable curls, really high rep, do about 4 sets of that. You can leave the gym with a sick pump in your arms. Let's see here. What do you think of training arms 3 times a week with moderate volume? I've done it before. In fact, I've told people that based on frequency principles, which demonstrate to improve muscle growth, to facilitate better muscle growth than bro splits, for instance, what I'll tell some people is if you have a lagging body part, why don't you pull back in the other body parts? For instance, do back, do chest, do delts and legs all once per week, and then throw in arms at the end of like 3 or even 4 of those sessions, and do a real short arm workout. Let me do like a couple exercises for biceps, a couple exercises for triceps, and give that a go. And that might be enough because you're giving that focused frequency to your arms. It might be enough to bring up, for instance, a lagging body part like your arms, biceps, and triceps, if your arms are a weak link in your chain. Or you can do it with delts as well, for instance. I would just ensure that you leave at least a day of rest in between. So like, you know, if you work out on a Monday, then, you know, again on Tuesday, then again on Wednesday, then again on Friday, and again on Sunday, and then repeat that process by going to Tuesday the following week as your first day. And that might help you bring up a lagging body part. Yes, chocolate almond milk, I guess is what you're saying is good. It is. Thoughts on the program Strong Lifts? I mean, it's great for strength building. I think that for overall muscle growth, I think Strong Lifts, because it's focusing on a few core compound moves, it's not going to get you the symmetry you might be looking for, but it's great for initial strength. It's great as a good foundational program too. But as you advance, and this is why I don't like using full body routines after a beginner's phase. I move into more like upper, lower, upper lower and push pull legs kind of stuff, because I find that you can devote more time to a given body part than you can with a full body routine. You're given more volume within a workout session. So and that's my feeling with strong lifts. I feel like you can't get enough work for each body part to maximally work all the angles, use a variety of tensions. So it's great for building foundational strength. It's great as a beginner's program, but I don't think it would be something that would be great for a bodybuilder long term. What is your opinion on the latest trend of vegan keto with IF? Actually, when I do ketogenic dieting, vegan ketogenic dieting, I actually do implement a 12-hour fast. I don't go the full 16 because I find that with keto, I get a lot hungrier. But when I'm waiting to eat, I guess with the lack of carbohydrates, I'm just guessing that, I don't know, but I find that a 12-hour fast works just fine. So it's a nice little happy range of fasting time, because I like putting in a daily fast, without making myself basically suffer either. But when I'm eating carbohydrates and just not doing keto, I'll do a full 16/8 for IF. Does the process of making milk alternatives like almond and soy milk affect bee colonies? I mean, one could argue that, you're exploiting bees. I think Onision argued this by, eating any pollinated, plants, produce, like, fruit, nut, seed, whatever. But I mean, that's really, it's a lot. Bees are going to pollinate anyway. I mean, so I don't see how it's going to affect the bee population. I mean, you're creating more benefit by being a vegan than by not being a vegan. So, just living is going to cause damage on some level. So I wouldn't really concern yourself over it too much. It's better to do the best you possibly can than to quiver over the things you can't really control. So just live a life where you do the best you possibly can. Let's see, Zach here. You generally seem to advocate for adding carbs of another 200 or so calories is required per day. Why carbs and not protein? I'm assuming, I know that you're one of my clients from the Vegan Muscle Academy. I'm assuming that you're asking why I tell you guys to adjust your calorie intake up or down using carbohydrates and not protein or fat. I keep protein and fat constants because I tell you, I've told you exactly what it is that you need fat-wise for proper health, and how much protein you need without needing to go overboard in it for muscle growth or muscle maintenance. So you don't need to adjust that up or down. Those are perfectly fine where they are. So it makes it easier to adjust your calories by just adjusting carbohydrates. That's why I tell you guys to do that. What's the minimum rate to train to preserve muscle mass? I advise people to train at least 3 days a week. That I think that's ample to be able to preserve and or grow. That's like the minimum I've personally found or personally seen. Because keep in mind that frequency and volume are both very important for muscle growth, especially for a natural. Maybe somebody on gear can get away with a lot, can get away with being looser about it. But if you're a natural, that volume and that frequency is really, really important. So I wouldn't go below 3 days a week. Cory, where do you get your carnitine, creatine, and carnosine? I mean, you're going to get things like carnosine from plant foods. Your body can produce carnosine from the protein you consume in your daily diet. But I also supplement with beta-alanine, which is a precursor to carnosine. And it's actually the product name is called Carnosyn, S-Y-N. And it's a vegan product. At least the ones I use are labeled vegan. And then for creatine, I use creatine monohydrate, usually labeled with the CreaPure label. Again, it's vegan. And you'll get creatine from your diet too, but it's shown that vegetarians and vegans will benefit from extra creatine consumption. And from a health standpoint, actually, mental, cognitive benefits. And as for carnitine, that is something that's difficult to get on a vegan diet. Your body, you probably can produce some. You might get a little from certain foods. But you can find vegan carnitine supplements. Now Foods makes one, and you can use that. But the thing is that supplementing with carnitine to really have no benefit unless you are deficient in carnitine, and then the only benefit you really seem to derive from it is a slightly better fat loss, is what I've seen in the research. But if you're not deficient in carnitine, and or if fat loss is not really your goal, then I really wouldn't worry about supplementing carnitine. It's a very specific, case-specific supplement. Do I think that 200 to 400 grams of tofu a day is bad? Christ, I'm looking at my menu plan right now. I eat like more than that. I eat about 17.25 ounces a day at the moment. So, you know, there was a study that showed that there were no feminizing effects in men who ate soy products at the same level as like Asian or higher than Asian populations. There was no feminizing effects. Soy or almond milk, it's a personal preference. I like soy milk. Frankly, I like the taste of soy milk better than almond milk. I also like rice milk, and I like coconut milk. Almond milk is really one of my my last choices, I guess, last preferences. If I can't afford supplements, can I still bodybuild? I answered this question before. Yes, you can. You know, just ensure you're getting enough food, you're getting ample nutrition, you're getting enough sleep, and you're training progressively. Is it unhealthy to calorie restrict on intermittent fasting for overall health? No. In fact, with intermittent fasting, where I find it works best is in a calorie deficit when you're going for fat loss. But even then, I don't recommend deep deficits. Just about 250 calories below your maintenance will work just fine for losing fat, and let the rest happen from training. I find that bulking is more difficult on IF because that final meal tends to be absolutely fucking massive. And I mean, for me, it's taken an hour and a half to 2 hours to complete before, and then I feel bloated and stuffed afterwards. I don't really like doing IF on a bulking, on a caloric surplus of any kind. I prefer to use it when I'm cutting down. 18-year-old bodybuilder, vegan bodybuilder, says they love my videos. Thank you. The cam is frozen. Yeah, unfortunately, I don't know what it is. I think it's a Google glitch because it's been happening on all of my, on both of my computers. And I've noticed it happening on other people's computers as well when I do cam chats with them or client calls even. I think it's a problem with Google, to be honest with you. I don't know. I guess I got to just work through it. Did you check out Brand Bar? No, I need to. Thoughts on NoFap? You mean like not jerking off? I mean, I don't see any reason why you should, you know, not masturbate, actually. I mean, ejaculation, especially if you're not currently sexually active with someone, you don't have a girlfriend or a wife or whatever, or your girlfriend or wife is just simply not in the mood all the time, which can happen for some folks, then yeah, I don't see, ejaculation is healthy for a guy. It's actually very healthy for a guy. So there's no reason why you should just completely forego, you know, ejaculation. Now, getting addicted to porn is a totally different, you know, story in my opinion. But masturbating, I don't see why that's an issue. Which fake meat brand is better, Gardein or Beyond Meat? I prefer Beyond Meat, just because I like their products, the macros in their products. The only Gardein product I really enjoy, because I replace my tofu with it sometimes, is the Gardein chicken scallopini, I think is what it's called. And it's just fantastic. It's fucking fantastic. And it has a similar macronutrient profile to extra firm tofu. So it's a good swap out. Have you ever had buffalo cauliflower wings? It's amazingly delicious. I've heard of it. I've seen photographs. I'd love to try it, but no, I haven't. Do I squat? Yes. Currently, I do more front squatting than back squatting. Actually, I've been doing a lot more front squatting for a while now because I find that I personally find it really burns the shit out of my my quads more than regular front back squats. So I got bumped down too far. Opinion on body weight exercises and which ones are your favorites? I prefer to do mostly weighted exercise. Even with my body weight work, I'll do weighted body weight exercises, but I love pull-ups, chin-ups, dips, and push-ups. But specifically pull-ups, chin-ups, and dips. And, you know, I'll hang a weight plate from a weight belt when I do them because I can just get too many reps. It depends on what my goal is. If I'm going for just a burnout, I'll just go to failure with body weight. Like, for instance, at the end of a chest workout, I might do a few chest exercises like an incline bench, flat bench flies, dips on the parallel bars, and then I'll drop down to the floor and just go to complete failure with push-ups. Or sometimes I'll do cable crossovers and I'll superset with push-ups, or dips supersetted with push-ups to failure. And it just gives me that final burnout pump for my chest. But yeah, I do incorporate body weight work often. I'm not Cory, but no. Oh, somebody's talking about how they did a no fat for 6 days and it helped out with ED or something. Do you think everyone will go vegan soon? I don't think so. I mean, I would like that to happen, but I don't think so. But think on the positive side here. I mean, the reason why I don't think so is because some people are just very hard to convince. People get indoctrinated into belief systems, and it's difficult to pull them out of those belief systems. No matter how much evidence you show them, it can cause cognitive dissonance and revolting, etc., which is probably why you see so much hate on a lot of YouTube videos, even reasonable YouTube videos, for veganism. But nonetheless, veganism is on an upward trend, a growth trend, according to trend data, like for instance, Google Trends. And that's a positive thing. So focus on the positive and keep trying to facilitate more vegan growth. And eventually you'll just see more people going vegan. There'll be even more vegan products. And, it'll just be a positive shift in the right direction. Cory, why are you agnostic and not an atheist or a theist? Thanks. I'm agnostic because I don't have evidence that God does or doesn't exist. I'm very much evidence focused. So if I see sufficient evidence to say something without a doubt definitely doesn't exist, or definitely does exist, or is the case or isn't the case, then I will go with that particular direction. But as an agnostic, I basically stand in the middle. I don't see evidence either way, So while no one can prove that God exists, you can't really disprove it necessarily either. So I sit on the agnostic fence right there. I just think that's a more logical reason, a more logical way to go about it. Cory, do you ever make things up when you don't know the answer? Absolutely not, which is why I've told people I don't know the answer to that. In previous Q&As, I've even said I don't have an answer for that. I don't know everything. And I told someone earlier with the manganese question that I didn't really know the answer. I made an assumption, but they should speak with their doctor. So no, I don't know everything, and I don't claim to know everything. And when I don't know something, I usually will go and research it later on. And a lot of times I even learn things when I'm making videos. Like I'll be coming to a video that I'm making for my channel, and I'll know a good deal about the topic, but in doing research, I'll suddenly learn X, Y, and Z that I didn't know about that topic, and then I add that to my knowledge base. I'm always researching, always reading, but it does not mean that I know everything. And it doesn't mean that I'm always right. For instance, another example, I made a video a couple years ago, or about a year and a half ago, about why I stopped taking glutamine supplements. There was a time when I swore by glutamine supplements, and then some research changed my mind on that, and I stopped taking glutamine. So there's times where I'm just downright wrong. And when I am, I adjust in light of the research. Have you seen any Joe Rogan's videos on the negative health impacts of a vegan diet? He claims vegans get hormone deficiencies from a lack of cholesterol. Oh my God, it's so ridiculous. Eating ample fat in your diet will take care of that. Your body can produce cholesterol. Your body can produce cholesterol because your brain needs cholesterol, for instance. Your body can produce it if you get enough fat. It can even produce it from fiber. It can even produce it from carbohydrate intake. So I really wouldn't worry. You don't need dietary cholesterol. Your body will produce it. Just get enough fat for health and for hormone production, so 20% or higher of your maintenance calories, and eat a lot of fiber-rich foods. And if you're on a diet that allows carbohydrates, of course, carbohydrates, your body can produce cholesterol through a number of mechanisms. I really wouldn't worry about it. Joe is, I could be making response videos to Joe every week, but it just feels like a waste of my fucking time. This is an example of someone who's thick-headed. This is an example of what I'm talking about. What I was saying before when somebody asked if everyone's going to go vegan soon. The reason I said no is because you have thick-headed people like Joe. It's the truth of the matter. Do you know any store that sells vegan sour cream? Yes. Go to Whole Foods Market. Possibly Trader Joe's, but Whole Foods Market has like 3 or 4 different options for vegan sour cream. Stay away from the I think it's the Follow Your Heart brand. I tried that one time and it was fucking awful. I think Tofutti makes a sour cream, and that one's awesome. To be honest, I don't really like the Follow Your Heart brand. I mean, no offense. I mean, I like the fact they're a vegan brand. I mean, and there are people who might really enjoy them, but I just never really liked their products, to be honest. I think their cheese has got a weird texture, and I didn't like their sour cream. You know, when I go for cheese, I tend to go for like Daya if I want it cheap, or if I want to spend a little more money, I'll go for like, you know, one of those more expensive brands like Kite Hill or Miyoko's. But Tofutti makes really good vegan cream cheese and vegan sour cream. Is leaving your dog outside while it's raining inhumane? They have a big isolated doggy house that can withstand low temperatures. I mean, if the dog house is comfortable and they're not suffering, but if the dog is suffering, bring the poor animal in. Why leave the animal out in bad weather conditions? That is inhumane. You know, if it's cold for you, if it's hot for you, if it's, you know, too humid for you, it is for your pets as well, your animal friends as well. So take them inside, be considerate of them, and people, please, when if it's cold out, especially when it's cold out, check under your car, around the tires, you know, for cats or other wild animals or other animals in general that might be hanging out where it might be a little warmer because of your engine when it's cold out, because they don't know any better and they could get killed when you pull out of the you know, wherever you're parked, for instance. My cousin, just the other day, I realized, I was on Facebook, he was completely distraught because he was leaving his job for the evening, and he accidentally ran over a kitten that was hiding under the tire of his car. It had been asleep and he didn't know it. And it's just a fucked up thing. And I felt sick reading about it. But always, please, you know, on that note, please check around your vehicle for animals that might be taking shelter. Just on that note. What do you think of avoiding oils? I feel much better overall getting fat from whole foods. Sure, don't need to use oils. The only time you might want to use oils is, like, for instance, if you're baking something, or if you just want the taste of a sautéed, you know, food that has oil on it, or if you're like ketogenic and you have a really high fat intake, it might help you meet your fat needs without going over in other macronutrients. And in that case, I tend to use coconut oil. In fact, my go-to cooking oil is coconut oil because of the really high smoke point and the flavor that it brings to foods and the MCT content. So I find that that's a really good, because it's really low in omega-6 fatty acids, and it's just got a lot of MCTs, the medium chain triglycerides. So I find that overall it's a much better oil to cook with. And it's a lot more tolerant, like I said, of high smoke point, of high heat points when you're cooking. What vegan restaurants do you recommend? It really depends on where you live. In the UK, there's a lot of them. When I was in London, oh God, what the hell is it? Mildred's, that's it, Mildred's. Check out Mildred's in London. There's like 3 locations. Mildred's is fucking fantastic. I love it. Also, the Loving Hut is really good. There's a number of locations around London as well. There's a lot in the US also, but Mildred's is only in the UK. In New York City here, there's Vegetarian's Paradise. Although check the menu, I believe one of their items is not vegan. It's vegetarian. It's the Salisbury steak is made with, I think it contains a dairy derivative of some kind, but they label that in the menu. Everything else there is vegan, including all their desserts. There's also my absolute favorite Manhattan vegan restaurant. And if you guys are looking to take a girl on a date, or, you know, if you're a girl and you have a guy that you want to give a hint to for a date, for a vegan date, there's a restaurant called Angelica Kitchen. I love it. And the atmosphere and ambiance is amazing. Just bear in mind, their tables book out fast. I don't know if they take resis, so you might want to like call and check in how they're doing before you get all the way out there and find that there's no seats. Is nutritional yeast a good source for B12? Yeah, actually, it's got like I believe it's got 120% of your daily value in vitamin B12. Although be advised, some forms of nutritional yeast contain B12 analogs that are not bioavailable. Red Star, however, is bioavailable from what I've read, the Red Star nutritional yeast. So give that a go. But I still think it's safe to, it's better to supplement with B12 just to be on the safe side. You know, they're cheap. The sublingual cyanocobalamin supplements are real quick. You pop in your mouth, hold it for 30 seconds, swallow, and you're good to go. And it's got a very high potency amount of B12 in it. So I still think you should supplement with that and eat fortified foods too. They have B12 in them. Instead of just relying on something like nutritional yeast in case you're not getting a good bioavailable form. Who are your favorite vegan musicians and actors and actresses? I'm not really sure. I don't really follow it. I mean, I like Joaquin Phoenix's acting. I really liked him in Gladiator back in the day. I thought he played a really good villain in that movie. And I know Joaquin is a serious vegan, but unfortunately, a lot of these vegan actresses and actors and singers, they do it as more of a fad, like Jared Leto, however you pronounce his fucking name, who keeps going back and forth in and out of the vegan diet. It's like, that's not vegan, man. So anyway, where can I get the supplements that you take? I use a website called Swanson's Vitamins, and I find that they have some really good deals, and there's always a discount code running. And I buy like the brand Diva, D-E-V-A, for a lot of my supplements. Sometimes I use Source Natural, I think is what the brand is. They have vegan supplements too, like the vegan DHA. But Diva makes pretty much everything, like vitamin, like there's vitamin B12 in Diva, there's vitamin D3, it's vegan from Diva. They also make a calcium, a K2, a number of things. Vegan BCAA brand. I use the BCAAs by True Nutrition. They are vegan. I contacted the website, and one of the folks there told me that their BCAAs are vegan. Do I take supplements for my joints? Yes, I take Cissus quadrangularis, and I've done a video about this. That's CISSUS, and it's a great supplement for hard and soft tissue. Do I drink smoothies every day? No, I don't. How often do I take Cissus quadrangularis? Every night. I take a quarter of a teaspoon. Actually, I take a half a teaspoon every night before I go to bed. How do bodybuilders like Frank McGrath and Jason Hugh? I don't know what this question is. They didn't finish the question. How bad is it for protein absorption if you eat lots of food right before bed? Not at all. Don't worry about it. Do you use resistance bands at all? Black rolls or other accessory equipment? Yeah, I use I use a weight belt to hang weight plates from. I use resistance bands either for a pump, or I will attach it to a barbell, and I'll add resistance to the barbell or to some dumbbells and give a harder peak contraction. I also use fat grips. How do bodybuilders like Frank McGrath and Jason Hugh have such thick? And then again, the question cuts off. I'm guessing you're going to ask thickness in like their arms or in their muscles in general. That's just genetics. Hey, Cory, is it best to exercise during the intermittency? I'm not sure what you mean. Do you mean during intermittent fasting? During the fasting phase? Yes, but if you're going to train fasted, then take some branched chain amino acids before you train to prevent muscular damage, the damage that might occur from weight training on a fasted state. How many milligrams of caffeine is safe per day in your opinion? I'm not a doctor. I really don't feel safe to answer this question. I mean, I drink upwards to like 800 milligrams in one sitting, and I feel fine. And I'll do that a couple times a day. Although I've stopped recently because I've been using beetroot juice as opposed to caffeine pre-workout. How do I keep my skin so clean and clear? I made a video about my vegan skincare tips, and you can look it up in my video search to get the details from that. But I in a nutshell, I eat a good amount of fat per day, at least 20% from a maintenance calories per day. There's genetics that play a role in there too. I loofah my face often in the shower. I use moisturizers twice a day on my face. Vegan moisturizers, by the way, before someone asks. And really, those are some of the key things right there. I stay hydrated. I drink a lot of water. I don't drink alcohol. I don't use aftershaves. And when I shave, I use soap. I use a bar soap, and I lather that up as opposed to using a shaving I don't put cologne anywhere near my face, something alcoholic near my face, and that seems to help with keeping my skin clear like that. But anyway, check that video out because I give a lot of tips in that video, including products. Let's see. Oh, how do bodybuilders like Frank McGrath and Jason Hugh have such thick, massive veins? Do certain drugs cause this? I'd love thicker, more defined veins. Any tips? Yes, that is caused by drugs. I believe it's caused by equipoise. Maybe I'm pronouncing that wrong. I've heard that can cause it, but I think any of the drugs can really do. I don't know a lot about what the drugs do, but I've heard some things and read some things. But that's really a side effects of the drugs. It's a level of genetics too, like, you know, your veinage that you have in a certain muscle area, like how prominent it is, how big the veins are, how they crisscross and how they look. That's all genetics too. But give yourself a really good pump. Maybe try beetroot juice. That's a good blood volumizer. Arginine, citrulline can also give you a pump, can help facilitate a pump as they're precursors to NO. And eat a lot of nitrate-rich vegetables like spinach. And really, that's my best advice for that, because you know, those things can help you get a good pump. And as a natural, you're only going to get so much veinage. And of course, if you lean out too, you'll see your veins better as well. Hey, Cory, is it best to exercise during the intermittent fasting period, during the 8-hour eating period to lower body fat percentage? Either one will work fine. But like I said, if you train fasted, make sure before you train, take a BCAA, like a scoop or two of BCAAs, like 5 to 10 grams of BCAAs, just to be on the safe side that you don't, you know, cause yourself to lose muscle. I've heard it's possible that you can get some detrimental muscle damage by training fasted like that. So my advice is to take a BCAA product. Are your meal plans 100% customized? If I hire you for a meal plan, will you make it customized for me? Okay, I was for a period of time doing private coaching, and I might still do that again depending on my schedule. But right now, the Vegan Muscle Academy is a subscription service. It's a group service, and it teaches you. It's got courses that teach you how to do all these things, how to put it together, training, diet, everything. It's ever growing. Every week we're putting up new content. It's a really comprehensive service, and we're going to keep growing it and growing it and growing it as time progresses. And we want to make it just a big database for vegans. And there's a forum where you can get feedback on things too, so you can make sure you're doing it right. There's a members forum. So if you want to check that out, that's what I'm currently offering at the moment. And people are finding success with that. You know, even without me having to sit there and actually build it for them, they're actually learning, which is more important, because then later on you can go off and train others. So you'll know how it's done. It's basically like I'm teaching you how to grow crops as opposed to just handing you crops, basically. I'm giving you all the raw materials and making it as easy to digest as possible. Do I run or sprint? I don't. I do a lot of walking, power walking, but when it comes to my cardio, I like to hit the heavy bag. That's what I like to do. Kick and punch the heavy bag combinations. I find it a lot more enjoyable than running, sprinting, or biking, or treadmills, or any of that shit. What weight do you use with a front squat? Wow. It really depends on how many reps I'm going for. I tend to go a little higher on my quadriceps, because I like to get a really good pump. Last I checked, it was, fuck. I gotta do the math in my head right now. It wasn't very much. It's like about 200 pounds for about 10 to 12 reps. My front squat is considerably weaker than my back squat. And I guess it naturally will be because of the just the leverage, the position you're in holding the bar. But that's fine, because I've switched to doing front squats more because I wanted to get better at them, for one, and two, because I just feel them more in my quads, and that's more useful to me. So, do I know any vegan sprinters out there? Not personally, no. Good morning, Lynette. Lynette's saying good morning to me. What's the benefit of supersets? Really, I've done a video on supersetting. There's no benefit for greater fat loss or greater calorie burning. However, supersets can get you through your workout faster. Like it's a time constraint sort of thing. So that's one thing. And two, they can lead to a sick fucking pump, a really sick pump, especially if you superset things like back and chest or biceps and triceps, the pump is insane. That opposing muscle group, those antagonistic muscle groups, when you put them together like that, the pump is fucking ridiculous. If anyone's never tried like a chest and back workout, it's just insane. Another example would be a chest and biceps or back and triceps workout or a bis and tris workout where you go back and forth between the biceps and triceps. The pump is sick from back to front. It's awesome. I sing those praises a lot because it feels so good. Why is it seen as acceptable to make fun of vegans in today's society? I think that has a lot to do with people just feeling threatened by it. They feel threatened by it, and it's part of the cognitive dissonance. It's part of the revolt that I was talking about earlier. You know, and but I've seen people who go from hating vegans to eventually becoming vegan. John Venus, I think, is an example of this, because they just realized the benefits are truly there, and on a number of levels, not just health, but for the animals and the environment, everything. And they become vegans from being haters. It happens. I've seen it happen a lot, actually. What supplements do you recommend? The key ones, I mean, for health, I would say is D3 if you need it, B12, possibly a K vitamin if you need it, like a K2. Those are some of the ones. Creatine if you're training. A protein powder can be useful if you need that. If you need to supplement your diet with that. Don't replace your diet with these things, but supplement if you need to. And beta-alanine is a good supplement as well. Those are some examples. Really, a lot of supplements are there in case you have a deficiency or something and you need to cover. Like if you have like a zinc deficiency or you train a lot, maybe consider zinc, because a deficiency in zinc can lead to a significant drop in testosterone levels and it can cause erectile problems. And zinc is depleted through sexual intercourse. Ejaculation actually releases a lot of zinc. And as I've jokingly said before, it's jokingly say it, but it's true that if you're having unprotected sex, the person who's on the receiving end of that ejaculation is going to be getting your zinc. There's zinc robbing you. But training can also deplete your zinc levels too. So that's an example of one that if you are deficient in it, and your doctor can run blood panels and these kinds of things, you can take a zinc supplement, for instance, and it can help out with that. Iodine deficiency on a vegan diet. Any experience or advice? I've never had a problem with that. I get iodine from a multivitamin because I don't eat a lot of sea vegetables and like kelp or whatever. But if you do consume a lot of like seaweed, for instance, you're going to get plenty of iodine from that. And there's iodine in other foods and fruits and vegetables as well, but it's in smaller amounts. But this is where a good multivitamin can cover your bases just in case. Do you think a brisk walk with a 100-pound weighted vest will cause any kind of hypertrophy or weight loss? It could help. It could help strengthen your core. In fact, it will help strengthen your core and weight loss too. Scooby, natty or not? Because of his age, it's a really hard thing to say, because I've been seeing new research lately that shows that that just because you're aging, if you're in otherwise good health, your testosterone levels won't necessarily be deficient. So it's really a case by case and even a genetic sort of thing, and also bad lifestyle factors too, I think, in some ways. So it's possible Scooby could be natural. It could be on TRT. I really don't know. I don't concern myself over the natty or not thing too much. I've done a couple of videos because people ask me about that subject a lot, but I haven't done a lot since then because I don't concern myself over it too much. What about DHA and EPA thing? Also mentioned in this Rogan episode. Your body can convert ALA into DHA and EPA. In fact, vegetarians and vegans have been shown to have a higher conversion rate than people who aren't vegetarian or vegan, especially ancestral vegans or vegetarians, like people who live in India, for instance. But you can also get EPA and DHA from algae, so algae oil. People are asking me to make like a video response to Joe's false claims. Oh man, I would be making videos every fucking week if I kept trying to respond to Joe Rogan every time he was saying something fucking stupid. I could make a channel about this. Vegan weightlifter and runner, and I've started to get chest pains over the last week or so. I wouldn't say that has anything to do with veganism. I would speak to your doctor. I'm not a doctor. Speak to your doctor about chest pains. It could be nothing. It could be something serious, but I don't think it would have something to do with necessarily veganism. It could be something having to do with your exertion as well, or maybe a dietary deficiency. Speak with your doctor. Get some blood work taken. Would you ever open a vegan, your own vegan restaurant? If so, what would you call it? Wow. I've never even considered that sort of thing, but I guess if I was to open a vegan restaurant, I don't know what I would call it, but I would open a bakery because I am a former fat kid and I love baked goods. And ever since I learned how to bake my own vegan donuts and awesome vegan cookies and shit, I have been getting so experimental in the kitchen with vegan baking, with like, cake, whatever. I even have a cheesecake episode up on the channel here, a vegan cheesecake episode, that I would probably like to open a vegan bakery because everyone likes vegan baked foods. I think most people like vegan baked foods. And don't lie, I'm sure that even people who say, I don't eat junk food, if they were presented with a slice of awesome vegan cake, they'd probably take it. So I might be exaggerating a bit there, but I think it's safe to say that there's a reason why vegan bakeries tend to do very well that do exist. But I don't know what I would call it. So for IF, I thought it eliminates the need for bulking and cutting. Is that wrong? IF is not going to necessarily build you muscle or burn fat. That's a matter of how many calories you take in per day. I just gave up on the whole bulking cutting thing. I prefer to stay as close to a maintenance as possible. Now, like I said, when I go on vacation, I sometimes overindulge a bit, like I did recently in the UK, and I'm paying the price for that right now, that overindulgence right now. But serious bulking and serious cutting phase, I gave up on that a long time ago. Is 80% vegan good? No, 100% vegan is good. But if you need to ease yourself into veganism, if it's something you just can't do overnight, as long as you keep making progress in that direction, you're not stalling yourself, and be honest with yourself, do what you need to do to make that positive change in your life. I'm not going to criticize you for that. And I don't think anyone should criticize you for that, because some people just can't go cold turkey. Some people they want to go that positive direction, but they just can't do it just like that, So do what's right for you, but don't stall, and be honest with yourself. Can you give a shout out to me in this live stream? I'm going to start talking English on my channel. This is from Kevin Studios. There's your shout out. Yeah, there you go. Does it bother me that coconut oil contains saturated fat? I don't overdo it, but no, it doesn't bother me. I just don't overdo it. Like when I've used saturated fat in cooking, for instance, like on a keto diet, I might use like a couple tablespoons a day, period. That's it. Hello, what vegan recipe was the best you have made to make cheese already made? I'm not sure what you're saying, but the best vegan recipe that required vegan cheese, I guess is maybe the question you're asking. I would say that would be Daya brand vegan pizza. Here's what I do. This is awesome. Buy the Daya brand vegan pizza. They have this thing, they have the 4 cheese pizza or extra cheese pizza or whatever the fuck it's called. It's in the freezer department of some of these grocery stores, at the health stores. Get that. It's under cheesy. Go buy some Daya shredded cheese and get some of those Beyond Meat beefy crumbles, the vegan beefy crumbles. Top it all over that pizza. Then dump on that shredded cheese on top of it so it melts over those crumbles. Fucking fantastic. It's absolutely fantastic. And then heat that in the oven for about 15 minutes at 475. Somebody says, I'll take any date I can get, vegan or not. All right, then. Somebody's worried their doctor's going to tell them to start eating meat again. That's absurd. I mean, a lot of doctors aren't nutritionists though, but they can tell you if you have a deficiency. So if you're having a medical problem, Get blood work done. Don't delay. Go to a doctor. What is bioengineering? I read that on the side of my Gatorade bottle, and I'm nervous now. Well, I mean, GMO would be an example of that. It's like engineering a biological organism. Creating something that wasn't the same way as it was before. It's something that wasn't as it appeared in nature. I mean, one could even argue that like broccoli is a form of rudimentary genetic modifications. But anyway, I'm not too concerned about. Like I said, I'm not too concerned about the whole organic and GMO, non-GMO thing. It seems like most of the studies on hormonal effects of soy are done in men. Will it negatively affect the female's ability to put on lean muscle and not affect estrogen, testosterone? It may have been done on men, but we're all human. I don't see why it would cause women to have an estrogen imbalance. In fact, the studies on breast cancer have been done on women with soy. And even the Cancer Society has said that, it's nothing to really be concerned about. I mean, unless you have some kind of predisposed like allergy or something or weakness to it, it's not something to really be too concerned about. That it's not necessarily a culprit to exacerbating breast cancer. Now, I'm not a doctor. I'm just saying what I've read. And these are doctors, I would imagine, at the Cancer Society. And really, a lot of the studies that show the negative impact are done on the animal model. And that's not like on rodents, for instance. That's not humans. And a lot of times you'll find that what happens in an animal model study won't be necessarily the same outcome in a human model study. Just saying. Oh, let's see. There's so many questions here. People are just kind of. Do I shave my chest? It doesn't look hairy. There's a little. I'm blonde, so a lot of I do have hair in my chest. Like it's there, but it's just in the light that I have on right now. It's not going to show up that well in the light. So, my legs are pretty hairy too. But again, because it's blonde hair, it probably wouldn't show up in the light. So, yeah. Is 40 to 60 grams of vegetable oil a day bad for weight loss? I'm 270 pounds. Don't look at it as a specific amount of vegetable oil. Look at it as your overall calorie intake. Don't think on such smaller scale like that at first. Think about your overall calorie intake, and then think about your protein and fat needs for general health or your goals on top of that, under that umbrella of calories, and then calculate your carbohydrates from what's left. Says I'm always right, shut the fuck up. If you say so, man. Is soda good for you? I mean, it's not going to kill you, but it ain't nutritional. It isn't a nutritional powerhouse either. I mean, it's like empty calories, essentially is what it is. But as a treat, I don't think it's going to hurt you. I drink a lot of carbonated water, flavored carbonated water, like like a seltzer water with like lemon lime in it or something. Is beer vegan, and do you drink any alcoholic beverages? Some beers are, some beers aren't. Some of them are clarified with isinglass, and some wines are as well. And isinglass comes from fish blood, I believe. I know it's foul, isn't it? But I don't drink alcohol, so I can't really tell you a lot about what is and what isn't. I don't know a lot about that. I don't drink. I don't use any drugs. I don't smoke. I guess you could say I'm straight edge, except that because I have sex, I guess I'm not totally straight edge. What do you recommend for recovery? I'm currently training for a marathon and I'm starting to feel a bit sluggish. Ensure you're getting enough protein. I mean, really, are we talking about weight training recovery here? Because if you're just doing endurance athletics, your protein needs won't be as high as, say, somebody who's bodybuilding or powerlifting. If you're doing both, if you're doing a marathon and your weight training, then ensure you're getting enough protein. Really, ensure you're getting enough protein and enough sleep. Get enough sleep per night. You might need 10 hours of sleep with your level of activity. So soft drinks are not the best thing for weight loss. Do not listen to Durian Ryder. I was going to say that right now. Anyway, this thing's been running for a little over an hour at this point, and my battery on this is going to die. So I'm just going to cut off at this point. I do these every week, and I have a lot of fun with them. So Be sure to tune in, and any questions I didn't get to this week, you can bring them up in the next Q&A. And I'll see you guys around. Take care.